Welcome to Municipal Affairs. Last month, the capital city of Victoria played host to one of the most important gatherings in the municipal calendar, the 2025 Union of BC Municipalities Convention. From September 22nd to 26th, the Victoria Conference Centre became the meeting ground for mayors, councillors, directors, senior staff, First Nation representatives, provincial agencies, and other stakeholders from across the province. The UBCM Convention is more than a series of speeches and workshops, though. It is where the future of British Columbia municipalities is debated, is shaped, and in many cases, decided. One of the highlights for delegates was meeting with members of the provincial government, both the government and opposition benches. Now, during the convention, we had the pleasure to speak one-on-one with Minister of State for Local Government and Rural Communities, Minister Brittny Anderson.
Minister Anderson, you just got off the stage as your address to delegates here at the UBCM Convention. What was your message from this provincial government to municipalities today?
Yeah, so first of all, I wanted to talk about how important it is that we work together. Local governments and First Nations, they're some of our most important partners in delivering things like housing, policing, water, and it's so important that we do these things together. I also wanted to talk a little bit about my role because it's a brand new role. I'm a Minister of State for Local Government and Rural Communities, and normally a Minister of State works under another minister, but the minister that I work under is Premier David Eby, so I actually get to work out of the Premier's office, and that really helps facilitate that collaboration between ministries, and in that work in supporting all communities, but in particular the smallest rural communities in order to do that work.
One of the big things that I heard, and I was in the back of the room listening to some of the delegates as you were speaking, was the area around what a true rural community means and the description of it differing from different portfolios. Why is that important to have a clear definition in this age in 2025?
Well, I've met with so many small rural communities, and they're all different, right? Their size, their geography, their access to a larger center. Bowen Island is very different than Atland or Fraser Lake or Cranbrook, and so their needs are different. And so having a common definition within government that takes into account both the size of the community, but also where it's located in proximity to a larger center with more services is really important. And after Statistics Canada has their next update, we'll also be able to include things like ferries and dirt roads, because there's remote and then there's very remote.
There certainly is. We are on day 3, but officially day 1 of the kickoff of UBCM. I know you've been mingling and talking to delegates. What are the common themes you're hearing about what's the issues going on in every municipality? And I know that's kind of a very broad question, but macroize it for me if you can. What are the top 3 concerns that you're hearing from municipalities right now?
Yeah, so I would certainly say that there's a lot of diversity in the meetings that I'm having. One of the pieces is infrastructure that is coming up. In many cases, water infrastructure is something that communities, that they're struggling with. They need a new water system, or their pipes, for example, are getting old. And so how are we able to work together to make sure that communities have the services like water that they absolutely need to be able to rely on?
One of the other areas that I've been hearing about, I'm not sure if you have, affordability. It is a big concern for a lot of municipalities right now. Things are getting more expensive. Infrastructure is getting more expensive. When you hear that, what's your initial reaction? Is it something that you thought you would hear and you're just looking at how the province can help municipalities through this economic challenge?
Yeah, it is certainly a challenge for everyone. I mean, you take a fire truck, for example, and those have just skyrocketed in cost. And so especially for small communities, that is a massive expense. And so I think with what we need to do as the province is to be working with local governments and identifying if there's opportunities to make things more affordable so that we're able to deliver the services that people rely on together.
And my final question, because I know you're busy and you have other things you have to get to, is we have an upcoming session of the legislature here. What do you hear here to bring forward to this upcoming session to ensure that what is happening here at UBCM doesn't just fall on deaf ears?
No, so I mean, certainly my role is to be, listening every single day to leaders in regional districts, First Nations, municipalities, and then bringing their voice to the cabinet table and into the decisions that we're making. And so that doesn't just end when UBCM's for me. It's the most critically important part of my role, and so that continues, 365 days a year.
64, you got Christmas off, right?
Yeah, maybe one day I got Christmas off.
Not even your birthday, right?
No, usually I'm working on my birthday, yeah.
Minister, thank you so much for your time for doing this.
I really appreciate it, Christopher. Thank you so much.
While at the convention as well, we caught up with Tony Luck, the Conservative Party of British Columbia critic for municipal affairs and local government, about what he heard at the convention and his plans to address the concerns he's heard during the upcoming fall session of the legislature.
Tony, thank you so much for sitting down with me and talking about the most recent UBCM convention that is happening as we're talking, but also about this upcoming session of the legislature. I want to start with the issues. As municipal affairs critic, what are you hearing from municipalities from across British Columbia today?
Well, as I've traveled around the province and talked to other municipalities, and what I'm hearing here especially is there's a number of things that are really bothering municipalities and that within their borders and that. And a couple of big things is infrastructure deficit. We have a huge infrastructure deficit going on in the municipalities, and they need to find a way to be able to pay for that, especially in our rural communities, smaller communities, struggling to find ways to pay for that. Of course, the really big issue, I started softly here, but the real big issue is the crime and the drug issues here in our communities. It's a huge issue within British Columbia and our communities, just like it is across Canada. We're not isolated in that, but it just seems to get a lot of press here, and there's a lot of things that are happening here that are really frustrating the councillors and mayors. It doesn't seem like anything's getting done about it, and more like it's being ignored with this particular government we have in BC right at the moment.
So I've had the pleasure of chatting with a few mayors and councillors from across BC over the last 2 days since I've been here, and crime has come up more often than not.
Yeah.
And some are saying not enough is being done from this provincial government. Some are saying we need a more regionalized approach. One size fit all doesn't work for our communities out in the Lower Mainland or in the Okanagan. What do you see as the biggest failure around the drug epidemic that we're seeing across BC that's causing the crime and challenges that municipalities are faced with?
I think from a perspective of some of the municipalities, it looks like there's a complacent attitude. It's just, they're just turning their back on letting it happen, because if we try to do something or they want to do something, it doesn't look like we're compassionate enough. And that's not true. As I was stating the other day, it says, where does one person's rights supersede another person's right? And that's where I think the people are really, really struggling. Why does this person have a right to go into a store or, that I visit, steal and get away with it, and there's no repercussions on him? Why does this person get to break glass and cause havoc in the street? I'm the one that's paying for it, the citizens feel like, and they're just so frustrated that there does not seem to be any action. Under our government, if we get elected, is we would certainly like to be looking at involuntary confinement of some of these individuals, treatment, not so much confinement, but treatment on these individuals. That's going to be, we have to look at that, how that's going to be done. But some of these people are going to need to be taken and worked with on an involuntary basis. That sounds kind of cruel, and we talk about it non-compassionate, but is it compassion allow people to be, homeless on the street, drug addicted, lying in their own waste in that? That doesn't seem very compassionate to me either. And
one of the things that I often hear is municipalities just can't do it, right? They can't do it alone. The province needs to step up. And 10 years ago, I would imagine this conversation would have been completely different. We would have been talking about this as and I'm not picking on any municipality here, but a Surrey, a Vancouver, a Victoria issue.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing from people in Kelowna, Kamloops, up in Fort St. James, in Prince George. This is an issue that is across the province. Kind of going to ask a political question, but you're a political man, so
I think I'm a politician,
exactly.
So I should be able to take this.
What should the government be doing? I know you talk about the treatment aspect, but what should the government be doing to help municipalities tomorrow? Because when I talk to municipal leaders, the one thing I often hear is, it's yesterday we needed the solution, not 2 months from now.
So I don't know if you hear earlier today, Chris, when we had a SOS out in the steps of the legislature, save our streets. And what I heard from every mayor and every speaker that came up is do it now. Yeah. Get it done. We're sick and tired. We're fed up, and we got to get moving on this. The decriminalization of drug has been a catastrophe. It has done nothing but turn our cities into bastions of drug addicts and things like that. And I don't want to make it sound like this is what we have everywhere, but the reality is you're tripping over them everywhere you go, and that kind of thing. And so, but they want action on this now, not yesterday. Now, the word that I'm hearing more and more is transformational changes. Not little incrementals, not nibbling at the edges. This is some serious stuff, meaning that we got to get the police out there, make a plan tomorrow, and start helping these individuals. It's not that we want to take them and discard them. We want to take and help them. But we also want to help the citizens as well, who are very, very frustrated. The store owners. We're gutting our cities because the people are so fed up. They're closing their businesses and walking away. There was a nightclub or a restaurant in Prince George that burned down. The owner says, I'm not rebuilding. So there's a change in our community. It's not fair to people like that and businesses like that. So people want this done now, not tomorrow. I don't think the police are the problem. I think we have enough police. It's the justice system. We need bail reform and those kind of things that we need in our cities to be able to solve this problem. And this isn't a problem just with the cities. It's the provincial government and the federal government. Yeah. They're the ones that have to do the bail change. We need to be working together. We should be sitting down and talking about these things today, not tomorrow.
I get a sense when I talk to smaller community, rural, urban, municipal leaders is they're not being heard right now. Do you get that sense as well?
I really get that sense. Absolutely. They're not getting heard about a number of things. One of the things, the downloading from the provincial government, they're not being heard about that. They're responsible for housing, they're responsible for diking, they're responsible for all. There's some municipalities feel like they're responsible for setting up a medical clinic. The downloading is phenomenal here, and they're not being heard. They don't have the resources anymore to do this. Taxpayers are fed up. Taxpayers don't have any money, and they're all struggling with trying to find solutions to this. But the provincial government needs to step up and help us in this.
One of the big other macro areas that you talked about and touched on is the infrastructure challenges. Now, I know there's not enough money to go around to help every single person, and I'm going to put words in your mouth and you're going to combat them. I'm assuming you're not, when you get elected, you're not going to be able to help every single person because you know that the taxpayer dollars needs to be spent wisely.
Yep.
How do we do that? Because every municipality across this province has infrastructure challenges, and they're all clamoring for more money to address it.
Absolutely right. So when I talk to city officials and councils and mayors and things like that, I said, look, this isn't going to be an overnight solution. There is no overnight solutions on things, but we got to get started. We got to turn the economy. The biggest thing, no money coming in, there's no money going out. And I challenge everybody. Chris, I'll challenge you as well as we sit across here. I would like to see one positive economic number or data set in our province right now. There is nothing. We have low productivity. We have low taxation. We have businesses leaving. 70,000 people leaving the province. There is nothing positive. The first thing we need to do is turn that around and change the way we do business in British Columbia. We got to get mines working. We got to get forestry working. We got to get all those jobs that provide the income for the province, all those businesses. We need them firing on all cylinders. And I talk about not a V8, we need a V12 cylinder engine right now. That's how bad it is here. So we got to get that turned so we have the revenue come in that we can help these provinces. We know we have an infrastructure deficit. Our water lines are failing, our sewers, our treatment plants, everything is failing at the moment. And we need to find the revenue that we can fix that. And that's where it starts first. But there is no magic bullet, Chris, as you know. This is going to take a little bit of time to turn around. But at least we got to be headed in the right direction.
But the one place that the municipalities do want the province to head is collaboration.
Absolutely.
And that is the key step for a lot of failures or relationships, is that collaborative approach. Yeah. How do you see yourself as opposition right now working alongside municipalities to advocate those issues that we talk about? Because you're coming up to your session here soon.
Yep.
And you're going to be standing across the aisle from two ministers who are municipal affairs. How do you see yourself being able to ensure that the voices of UBCM, the municipal leaders across the province, are being heard on the legislative floor?
So my role as in opposition is to champion that. I want to champion collaboration. I'm doing it with myself as I go around and talk to councils and meet with councils. In my riding, I have a quarterly meeting with all my mayors and councils. Anybody that would like to attend, collaboration. We've got to do that. As we look around with this particular government right now, they're the most secretive government in Canada right now. There is not. They say, "Oh, we're collaborating." Then we find out later that they don't collaborate. They have a little bit of chit chat on the side here, or talk to the people that they want to talk to, and nothing else is done. Most of the cities, mayors, councillors are feeling left out right now. We don't want that. When we've been having some meetings here at UBCM, it's 3 or 4 of us opposition members, MLA, sitting down with these people. And as we explained today in one meeting, we're here to listen. We don't want you having to go to this ministry and then this ministry and then this ministry. We want to be all sitting down together and coordinate this together, but we want to listen to you. We need to know what the issues are moving forward here. We want to work collaboratively with everybody.
I feel like we were in the same meeting because I've heard municipalities are getting lost in the shuffle.
Yes.
Oh, you don't deal with this ministry, you have to go deal with
Yes.
this ministry and this ministry. Can we streamline it? I know that's a very simple question, but can we streamline government to make municipalities happier?
Well, we're a common sense government. That's if we get elected. And that's exactly what we want to do, Chris. We want to get rid of this. We want to get rid of the overhead, if you want to call it for any lack of a better term. And we want to be able to streamline these things. We need to get things done. We can't wait 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, when I got elected here, I'm 70 years old. I'm running out of time. But it's not so much my time I'm running out. It's my children and my grandchildren. We've already lost some to Alberta. We've lost some from other jurisdictions. We don't want to lose any more of our grandchildren. Many of us here at this party right now, we've lost kids to other jurisdictions. We don't want to do that. This is the best province in the country. It's an amazing. The wealth is there if we just do the things we need to do. We need to streamline processes. We need to go have a single point of contact for municipalities to come to. We got this, how we're going to solve that. That's what we want to do. We want to collaborate and talk and get things. They are lost. I'm lost, for crying out loud.
So my final question before we go,
Yeah.
because I know you're a busy man, you probably
It's
want
okay.
to go chat with some more mayors as we're here at UBCM.
Oh, no problem.
What's
Sorry.
your message from the Conservative Party to municipal leaders right now that you want to make sure they know about?
I think that one of the biggest things is I pull back and look around and here, I think municipalities really need to look at what they're doing. They need to stay in their lane. They need to be able to look at their citizens and be able to do the things they need to do moving forward, working with the provincial government as best they can and keep doing that. Work with us because we're listening and we want to make changes here. But they really need to watch what's happening in the future here. We're going through a tough time. They keep saying, well, we're going to head into a recession. Honestly, I think we're already there. When we may have been there for the last number of months here, we're already in recession. Every economic number, as I've mentioned, is not a good one right now. We need to turn those around. So I think municipalities need to look at staying in their own lane right now, pulling back on some of the things they do, because the taxpayers are done. They're just fed up with the lack of transparency, the lack of respect, and the lack of accountability. And that's seen nowhere better than in Metro Vancouver, for example. Metro Vancouver, they keep talking about making changes and doing things. They've done really nothing. They've scraped it, nibbled at the edges, but they need to be transformative. They need to make serious changes there, and other cities and that need to look at that as well. And we need to get back to basics in this province right now. That's probably the message I'd be saying more than anything.
So if you haven't listened to my show, I will tell you, I say my last question, then you say something, and I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
And I'm going to play a little devil's advocate
Sure,
with you
absolutely.
with that statement that you just said.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane. It's the line that I've heard from across Canada when I talk to provincial leaders.
Oh, I thought I had a...
No, it is not a BC thing.
I thought I had a
So-
original thought there, Chris.
When I talk to mayors,
Yeah.
councillors, directors, they say if we don't do something,
I know.
then we're the ones who are going to get the S is going to hit the fan.
Yeah.
How do you say that, knowing that municipalities are going to have to bear the brunt? Because if they don't do it, the province hasn't already done it. So are you hoping that the province will step up and do it? Or are you expecting that the province will if people start calling?
Well, I think where we're sitting now and having set a session in here, I hope the government will be doing this. And I would think that we, as a sitting a government in waiting, that we will do that when we're elected.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of people in our caucus that are chomping at the bit to get S done.
Yeah.
It's time to get things done. We can't be nibbling at edges anymore. We got to get this done. We just can't wait any longer. So in the meantime, we got to find some way that get this provincial government to listen and change the way they do it. Stop the downloading. Stop giving municipalities things that they can't do. But on the other hand, we've had talks with mayors and councils. Hey, no problem, we'll do that. But we want the commensurate money to come along with it. We will do the policing. We'll have a medical office in our municipality, but we want the money to do that. Yeah. Why should we set up a medical office in our community and have them have their tax dollars go to the provincial government and to the city? We can't do that. Yeah. We have got to find ways to transform the way we do business in this province, and quickly.
Tony, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Municipal Affairs. Now, we want to take a moment and thank the UBCM for allowing us to attend this year's convention in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia. To stay in the loop with all of our episodes from that convention, be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform, or if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button now. Your support means the world to us. So share this episode with your friends, your family, and yes, even your community, and help keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and we will be back with a brand new episode of Municipal Affairs shortly. Till then, everyone.